Okay, well, good afternoon, guys. You guys are welcome to unmute yourselves if you want to speak. I have you muted for the time being, but you're welcome to chime in at any point. Just wanted to go over a couple of logistics real quick, and I'm also recording this for anybody else who wants to see it. We'll also email it out to those other advisors. So just a couple things real quick. You guys have, Adrian and Brad, you've both been a part of it before. It's pretty similar as in years past. You're going to get a $500 stipend for your team, and you're basically tasked with creating a solution, a product that's going to help the lives of Pennsylvanians. Like in years past, you're going to then come and present that to some judges. I got a couple engineers from the area that'll be on our panel of judges. A couple outside the area as well. I just contacted one from Harrisburg today about being another judge. What else? There's also a written portion, but we'll get to that. That website right there is a quick link to anything related to the project, the rubrics, registration links, all that kind of stuff is on that link. The actual link's really long, so that's just a little bit of a shortcut. tinyurl.com/governorstem. Like in years past, there's going to be a project in the box. This hasn't been decided yet. In years past, it was create an object that would protect an egg from a large drop or from by throwing it. Last year, it was some kind of STEM boat. There's some ideas are throwing around for this year's competition for that portion, but that hasn't been finalized yet. So I'll know more about that soon, but I probably won't tell you much about that until the day of the competition. But that's really to kind of just have a team building portion of the day. We're looking for the 4 C's to be demonstrated. We'll go over that in the rubric. We do have a lot of teams this year participating. The first year we had 3 teams. Last year I believe it was 5 or 6. We have 8 teams this year, which is really awesome. Logistically, it's a little harder to kind of juggle, but it's a fun challenge to have. So here's all the schools that are listed. The stipend is, again, $500. You're welcome to, at this point, email your business office manager, whoever that might be, and send an invoice over to the IU. Put my name on there as attention, and we'll send that stipend over to you. And I don't need to hear any back. If you didn't spend all of the money, if you spent $450 or $400, I don't need to get a receipt or return any of that money. It's $500 for your district, and most likely you're going to use most of it anyway, but you don't have to return any of that money. But again, just let your business office know, and they'll send an invoice over to us. Just a couple dates to keep in mind. December 8th, your students need to register. You guys already did the team registration, but at that link on that website that I shared earlier, the students have to also register on there. So when you have your 5 students that you've picked out, they need to register as well. I won't see that they registered. I'll get that listing a little bit later on, but I'm asking you to have that by December 8th. And then what I will see is you're going to email me the permission slips for each of those students. That's like a visual release, and the fact that they're going to be at this event at the IU, that just kind of covers us. So you can email those to me, just kind of scan them into your computer, and I'll just kind of keep record of that for our event. There's my email to email those to me. And then January 31st, I need the written proposal for your project. The actual event is on the 27th of February, but the written proposal is due January 31st. You can definitely, in that month span there of February, you can be tweaking your project, tweaking your presentation, but the written proposal will be given to our judges before that date. And so make sure that's done well with excellence. And we're going to go over the rubric here in a second too. That's one of those categories on there is the conventions for the written proposal. The winning team will also be invited to Thaddeus Stevens on May 18th. They're thinking of making that a 2-day event. That's in discussion right now. They felt that it was a really quick event for those that went, and they're going to potentially do that maybe an afternoon and then the next day in the morning to kind of draw out a little bit that the projects can be shared with more than just the judges, but also with the other participants and the other winners. So that might be 17th and 18th, it might be 18th and 19th. That is still kind of up in the air, but that will be at that East Stevens. And actually, you guys, both of you that are on here, have won in the past. Adrian has won in our first year, and Brad's team has won last year. The rubric, again, there's 3 parts to the rubric. The written proposal, which is due January 31st. The presentation, which will be on site here at the IU, February 27th. And then the project in the box is a team portion, which will also be at the IU. Just real quickly, at that website that I mentioned, you can find the rubric listed right here. I already pulled it up. But basically, this first part of the rubric is the written proportion. You're explaining the problem that you're solving, and it's a 0 to 4 scale. They want you to connect with some local industry folks that you've kind of talked to somebody else about refining your idea. So there's some kind of connection that's in the written portion as well. Your budget needs to be included there. Even if you didn't spend all the money, that's fine. Just have a budget that kind of outlines what you did. Your plan for improving it if you would win. So that first part's going to explain the project as well, kind of pitch the idea of what you're presenting. Conventions is a big part of it. We've seen some projects that came in that were dinged some points because of some grammar issues, some spelling issues. So you want to make sure you can get a 4 on that. It's a pretty easy one to get a 4 on if we do a little bit of editing. And then research as well. Is there any basis to your work and why you're doing what you did? So that's 22 points. That's kind of done before the event here at the IU. The second part here is the presentation itself. So how did you articulate your project? Did you explain the engineering design process throughout your presentation? And you got about 20 minutes for this presentation as well. But basically, kind of like Shark Tank, you're pitching your idea, and you're trying to get that investment of more money into your plan. So look at this rubric to kind of make sure you're hitting all the boxes here. And the budget needs to be explained in the presentation as well. How would you scale? How would you scale it to mass production? And then how do you connect with that local business industry folk from the area? And then there's a couple more things on presentation skills. Visually, how did it look as far as a presentation? And then how is it organized as well? Some other key pieces to put in there. And then the last part of it is that project in the box. And this is different from last year as far as the rubrics going. Is they focus on the 4 C's, which is communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. So whatever the project is that going to be elicited through from that project, how they work together as a team. And at the end of it, we will have a winner, and we'll total these all up, and we'll get to send one of our teams from the county to the state level. But that's all I really had. Just real quick, wanted to make sure everybody's on the same page. I know there's probably some new advisors that might be watching this. So I will open it up to the 2 of you to see if you have any questions, and then we'll call it a day.
Vince, real quick, what I saw there, we're now using the engineering design process, not the STEM process.
Yes, that was in the second part here.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
Engineering design process was what has been mentioned for this.
Yep. Perfect.
And, is that your question?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was, because I know you and I had discussed that before about moving from the STEM process to engineering design process.
Which I didn't give any feedback based on our conversation, but I think they've heard that feedback. And they're also going to have some webinars for all of the judges, so that statewide, all the judges are kind of coming at it from the same vantage point.
Awesome.
That I think, to answer your question before, they didn't want to share rubrics afterward because they weren't feeling like everybody was on the same playing field as far as judges. So by having some judge webinars where everyone's on the same page, they can explain what this all means to everybody, and so everyone's on the same page. So yes, this is engineering design process as opposed to steps of STEM, I think it was last year.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. That's perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Any questions from you, Adrian?
No, I'm good. I was just curious. My only question was, when do you want the written portion? But you already answered that.
Yep. Yeah, January 31st. And that can just be emailed to me. I'll get it to the judges then in February for their to get their look on it, and that's about it.
Perfect. Thanks, Vince. I appreciate it.
Yep. Any questions throughout, guys? Feel free to email me, and also email this PowerPoint and this video out to the group as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Vince.
All right.
Thank you for your
Thanks,
time.
Vince. See you guys.
Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Yep. Take care.